No organization is responsible for the content of this video. All errors and omissions are the sole responsibility of myself, David Iverson. This video must not be your only source of information. Please attend official USSA educational opportunities. Please download official USSA educational materials.
Okay, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to sort of walk you through the equipment that is in the timing shack, and then we'll sort of break out other equipment that's in the timing shack. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at my computer, and my computer is currently running split second. So we have a computer that can run split second and an internet browser, etc., etc. And now in order to run split second, we need one of these. That right there is a software protection device, and so it makes sure that if we are timing a race, we have paid for it. There are other, there's also, I'll just go over and grab it right now. This is an older model. This will fit onto a parallel printer port, which is sort of going away. Some computers have them, some of them don't. This is a little USB software protection device. So this needs to be paid for, it needs to be plugged in order for us to use this software in timing mode. Okay, and then of course our computer has a power adapter. And while we're on power adapters, I also have a power adapter running back to my timer. And so here we have my timer, and so we have power coming into the timer right here, and then we have inputs coming into the timer right here and here, start and finish. We'll get into that a little bit later. And then here we have a connection that runs all the way over and into my computer. So we'll come to the timer in a little bit, and the timer has different things we need to talk about. That's all I'm going to say for now. Here I got a radio. I talked about radios. We'll set that out of the way. Let's finish up with this. My laptop has two USB ports. One of my USB ports going directly in is my timer. That's the way that I want it to go. But now I've got other things that I need to hook into my USB. So I have a little USB 4-port hub. So I have my software protection device, and then over here, this is very useful. Everybody needs to have one of these. This is just a little thumb drive or a little flash drive. And so you're going to definitely need to transfer files around from computer to computer. So this one here has a little lanyard on it, so I can wear it around my neck so I always know where it is. And then also, conveniently enough, it's got the key to the timing shack, so I can get into the timing shack in the morning. And last but not least, coming out of the computer, I have a little Wi-Fi extender, because I have a pretty weak signal where I time from, and so I have a little Wi-Fi extender. One thing that I do not have hooked up right now is I don't have a printer hooked up to my computer. I could do that and make a new video, but I think at this point in time you guys know how to hook printers up to computers. And so just keep in mind you're going to need a printer hooked up to your computer as well. So, basics of the computer. I have power cord, printer if I had one, or printer going into my USB port depending on how my printer hooks up. I have a connection to the timer, and then I've got a connection to my other things, software protection, or a software license I should call it, and then a hard drive or a mini drive for transferring files, and just sort of whatever I need. Then over here I have my communication setup that I mentioned in another video. I've got a pair of headphones and I've got my headphone amplifier, and then that is hooked up to the mountain wire, and it goes up to whoever I need to talk to. Okay, back over to this. My timer has good fresh batteries in it, but then it also has a power adapter coming in, and it has a connection to the computer, and it's got a connection to the start right there, and it's got a connection to the finish right there. So on this model timer, the connections go in like that. And then another thing that it has is it's got a display, and then it's also got a printer. It is absolutely critical that your timer has a printer and that it is printing during the race. Okay, and so then these go out onto the mountain, but since I'm not at the mountain right now, they spin around, and there's my start box there. And when I open my start box, you hear a little beep because it's working. And then I have my finish eyes, and of course, because I'm not on the mountain, they just go out and around, and I have a finish line set up on my table here, so you get another beep. So, once more, going through it. I have start box coming into my printer, start box coming into my timer, which has a printer. Then I've got my finish line, which comes in on a wire to my timer. My timer has batteries inside of it, and it also has a power supply that's tied into the wall. Then that is hooked into my computer. And then my computer has a power supply and a battery in it. It's connection to the timer. Then it's got a connection to the software key that allows me to time with it. And then whatever else I need to plug into. And the most valuable thing on there is my little flash drive that allows me to transfer files from computer to computer. And then separately, I have my communication set up. And then I have my radio. Okay, and as you can see from a YouTube video, this is a lot of wires running around in a lot of different places. So I didn't want to make things too complicated, but I just want to point out that in your timing shack, you should have 2 computers and you should have 2 timers. So in the full setup, you should have 1 start box with 2 sets of wires coming out of that 1 start box, because you should have 2 switches in there. Each set of wires should run into a timer. So you should have 2 timers. And those 2 timers should each be feeding into 2 separate computers. And I know that people are strapped for cash these days, but the computer that you need to run a race costs like $50. So you can afford another computer. And so you have 2 of those, 2 of those, 1 of those, and then you should have 2 finish eyes. So that right there is 1 through beam setup. You should have 2 separate finish eyes as I laid out in my finish eye thing. You only need 1 set of communications. You need at least 1 radio. Hopefully you can get 2 radios.